Beastmaster Ranger in Baldur's Gate 3, now that we've got access to level 5, is nothing to play with. Yo, what's good? It's Minstora. Solarian Studios just dropped patch 9 not that long ago for Baldur's Gate 3 early access. This is supposed to be like the last substantial update that we get for this game up until it fully comes out in August of 2023. And even though Paladin was introduced into the game with this patch, my first playthrough of patch 9 was actually with a Beastmaster Ranger, because I've been meaning to give this class and subclass a try in Baldur's Gate 3. I just never got around to it, and I considered, with level 5 being in the game now, better time now than never. And listen to me when I tell y'all, man, Beastmaster Ranger is a problem. It's really strong, really dope, and just overall really fun to play in this game. Let's take a deeper look at it. And this is my Ranger. He is a Sylvan half-elf that dual wields long swords. And I know that's not optimal, and I don't care. I just wanted to do what looked cool and what was fun to play for this playthrough. But to specifically talk about Beastmaster, their whole thing is that they have an animal companion that helps him out, fights alongside them, helps him out in combat or in any other situation for that matter. But for Baldur's Gate 3 specifically, there is a variety of different animal companions that you can actually summon anytime you would like. It doesn't cost anything at all, no spell slots, nothing. The only thing is you can only summon them outside of combat. Real quick, for those of y'all that do play D&D 5th edition tabletop, the Beastmaster Ranger here is much more like the Beastmaster with the options from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, as opposed to the player's handbook Beastmaster. It doesn't feel like that at all, and I actually really like how Larian Studios has implemented it here. But yeah, each of these different animal companions has something that they specialize in, something that they're good at, and with level 5 that was introduced in patch 9, each of the individual, companions gets a new ability that they also unlock, just like the Ranger itself. Then that helps them further specialize in that thing that the animal is good at. So let's go over each one of these animals one by one, because that's honestly what makes this Beastmaster Ranger so good, so dope, and just so fun to play with. So let's kick things off with your Wolf Companion, which when you first unlock this subclass is going to come with an attack that can knock enemies prone, which basically makes it easier for other people to hit them, as well as some other benefits, and it's going to come with pack tactics, basically giving it advantage or making it easier for it to hit enemies as long as the wolf has an ally near it when it's going to try to attack something. So your wolf was your really reliable, really accurate attacker. It was more than likely going to get in there and at least deal some damage because of how accurate it was. But at level 5, it unlocks Infectious Bite as its new default attack, changing its damage type to necrotic damage as opposed to the common physical type of damage it used to deal previously. So in D&D and Baldur's Gate 3, a lot of enemies have resistances and they resist, common physical damage really often. But now that your wolf is dealing necrotic damage instead, it's gonna bypass some of those resistances. And in addition to being this really reliable, really accurate attacker, now you can depend on it dealing its full damage more often, because while there are some things out there that do resist necrotic, not as many of them resist necrotic as they do that common physical type of damage: bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing. So your wolf just got that much more reliable, and with that level of 5 ability, it just sits so much more comfortably in its niche. Next, let's take a look at the Raven Companion, which when you first unlock this subclass comes with an attack that can blind enemies for a short time whenever it hits them. And blinded enemies are gonna have a tough time hitting other people, and other people are gonna have an easier time hitting the blinded enemy. Don't need to tell you why, that's just really good, in general, right? And the Raven can fly, so it's gonna be able to go further, higher, or lower than pretty much any of your other animal companions, and that was its niche. But at level 5, it unlocks the ability Bad Omen, and it kind of throws one of its feathers and can mark people as cursed, and it deals more damage than its previous attack, and it's save based, so it's not an attack roll. So if an enemy fails this wisdom save, they're still gonna take some damage. So where you had this kind of mobile Raven that could kind of do a lot for you and your group before, now it can still do that while also being a hit and run specialist, you know, throwing these feathers and flying away, getting to places that enemies can't reach them. And that's what the Raven excels at, and its lower HP kind of reflects that as well. It's a really cool animal to throw in an encounter where there's lots of places that it can get to that others can't, to kind of just always be annoying and deal some good damage. Now, let's talk about the Spider Companion, which when you first get it, already comes with some really cool abilities. So its default attack is a poisonous bite, which is really cool because it can even put that poison debuff on some of your enemies. I don't recall exactly what the poison does, but it's a really pesky kind of debuff. Your enemies aren't gonna wanna deal with it, and it has a web ability. It can create this area of web that's difficult terrain for your enemies to get through, as well as, you know, potentially trapping them in it as well. So your spider was kind of like your annoying specialist. It wanted to create chaos, crowd control, all that good jazz. And at level 5, it gets even better at that, and it unlocks Entomb, which traps an enemy in web, kind of like, you know, the normal web ability, but entombing it, kind of wrapping it in a cocoon. So like they can't do anything, and it lasts, you know, for a long time, unless a fellow ally comes and breaks them out of the entombment, or if they're dealt damage. But it's still a really useful ability to just go ahead and take someone out of combat until someone deals with it, which I think is really nice. So it leans even harder into that crowd control role. Your spider is good when you kind of just want to sow chaos in the battlefield, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to talk about my favorite animal companion, the boar. Actually, I call my, even though it's not named that, I call it Pumbaa. I really hope we get a chance to name our animal companions, because I want to name the boar Pumbaa. But anyways, yeah, so the boar, when you first get it, even though I unfortunately don't hover over its ability, so I can't show you, its main thing is it can charge. It can charge in a line, and anyone that is in its path has the chance to take some damage and get knocked prone. So I guess you could say it was kind of like your area of effect guy while also having like decent HP or whatever. But at level 5 is serious for the boar, okay? It gets the ability to rage. So for those of y'all that know D&D, y'all know that's serious. It can rage once per combat. It can rage more than the barbarian can, in the barbarian class. It can rage once per combat, giving it resistance to a bunch of different kinds of damages, making it insanely tanky to most enemies, and it unlocks a bonus action attack when it rages. So your boar, while not only being resistant to damage, can get up in the enemy's face and attack twice. Something that I don't think any other animal companions can do, at least not at this time. That is absolutely insane. You see now why the boar is my favorite. Before, like I said, it was kind of your area of attack specialist, but now I guess its role now is like that frontliner. You know, you have it in, you send it in, it gets in there, it rages, grows bigger, becomes more of a kind of a menacing threat. It soaks up a bunch of hits and deals more damage per turn than any of your other animals have the potential to do. He's my favorite, he's my go-to. I don't really need to explain much more why the boar is just straight up awesome. And last but certainly not least, we're gonna talk about the bear animal companion, which you can already tell by looking at it. Its job is to be a tank. You know, it has the highest HP pool, and even when you first get this animal companion, it comes with the ability Golden Roar. Can pick someone at range and, you know, potentially force that enemy to only focus on attacking the bear. And while in some cases I do think the boar is a better tank because it has rage, it can resist some damage types, only the bear is able to force someone potentially to attack just the bear. So in a lot of cases, your bear is gonna be your best tank if you're going into a counter, you know, I need someone else to help us tank out, right? But at level 5, to help with that even further, it gets the honeyed paws ability. Kind of imagine this big old bear with paws full of honey, right? And essentially it doesn't do that much damage, but it lashes out with these honeyed paws and can disarm a target. So if someone's using a weapon, nope, not anymore. You're not just gonna make that weapon kind of drop to the ground. And if it isn't holding any weapons, it's still gonna fall prone. So this is still a really useful ability on those enemies that, you know what I'm saying, aren't carrying weapons. So your bear is just this massive tanking unit that gets even better at tanking as time goes on. I've been using the boar a lot, but I can tell there's gonna be a lot of those encounters where, okay, I really need some help taking some of these big hefty hits. And that's what the bear is gonna be for, because while yeah, the boar can do that, the bear is going to be the one that can make those enemies potentially focus on hitting it. So the bear has its niche too, and I think it has the tools to be really good at it. Now, I know that that was a lot of information that I just threw at y'all, so I appreciate you bearing with me. But it's so that I can illustrate just how much versatility the Beastmaster Ranger has just within each individual animal companion alone. It's honestly kind of crazy just how many different niches you could fill with just that companion. And not even to talk about combat, just outside of combat as well. I know we've all played, early access a bunch already, probably already done a bunch of playthroughs, but when the full game comes out, we're not going to know as much about it as we do now. So we're going to be going in blind a lot in that first or few playthroughs. So even outside of combat, having that Raven to just kind of separate from the party, to fly out and scout a little bit is going to be massively useful. Like I said, even just talking about this class's potential, the subclass's potential outside of combat, and even in combat, like there's more crazy stuff. At level 5 as well, the Ranger itself unlocks the ability Companion's Bond, which is the bond between you and your companion grows stronger. So you now add your proficiency bonus to the companion's AC and damage rolls. Like just more stuff being thrown at the Beastmaster Ranger, man. It's insane. Like with that clip that I showed all of you at the beginning of the video, you know what I'm saying? My boar had rage on a previous turn. Prior to what was shown on screen. So my boar had already raged. So on this turn, he used his bonus action to attack, and then use its main action to go ahead and attack again. I think it did like 42 damage by itself, and that's not even including my turn. So let's say I went like right after the bear, I used my bonus action, Hunter's Mark, 2 attacks with the bow, and just in one turn, if you're putting the animal companion and the ranger in tandem, the damage could be insane. Like, I'm not gonna put specific numbers out there. Let's like even put low numbers. Let's say, each attack hit. Let's say I got lucky, each attack hit, and with Hunter's Mark, I do like 14 damage each. So 28 plus the 42 from the bear, come on, that's a lot of damage to be putting out there. And when you combine that with the fact that your companion doesn't use concentration, so I imagine they're gonna have Conjure Animal or Summon Animal, whatever, in the final game. Yeah, once Ranger gets level 9 and they get the Conjure Animal spell in addition to having the companion, so like just crazy. Like, and what's cool about the Beastmaster in Baldur's Gate 3 is they truly feel like a Beastmaster, unlike the tabletop player's handbook version. So where you're a Beastmaster, you pick your one beast, you're a master of that beast, you pick an animal to bond with, and if that animal dies, you can pick other. But no, like in Baldur's Gate 3, you can summon all these different animals for different situations, and you feel like a Beastmaster of many different kinds of animals all at the same time. And it's really cool for the power fantasy. It's really great for damage. And even in those situations, like, okay, obviously boar seems like the best, right? But if you're fighting a big bad, and you manage to get that blind off with your crow, all of a sudden you've crippled it massively for at least a turn or two, and then your party can just go nuts with all these kinds of advantage-based attacks. Like, there's just so much here, and I'm kind of rambling at this point. But yeah, just say all this to illustrate just how much potential this class has. I can't wait to see what it's capable of doing once the full game comes out, and as well as just to illustrate how much fun I have it. Man, I had a blast going in, Hunter's Mark, having my dual swords, going in with a few attacks, and then behind me here comes, my wolf, and we're side by side, so the wolf has pack tactics and it gets a nice bite off. The fantasy of it, the damage of it all, the utility, it just feels really solid. And I typically like full casters, but it's gonna be real tempting and real hard to not play a Beastmaster on my first playthrough. I think if Warlock is my favorite class, and I think that if for some way, somehow, Pact of the Blade ends up not making it in on full release, Beastmaster Ranger is going to be really enticing for me. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I just kind of wanted to show a little bit about this subclass, how much justice and how much better, patch 9 with level 5 has made this class, and maybe I know we're kind of squeezing every bit of gameplay we can get out of Baldur's Gate 3 for early access, but I'm serious, man. Boot up another run through, make a ranger, and try it for yourself, because this class honestly feels really fun to play, alongside of getting some really good utility spells like spike growth and stuff like that. It's a little bit of area of effect. So yeah, that's my video for today, guys. Just showing y'all how dope the Beastmaster Ranger seems to be shaping up to be. This is Minstora. If you've liked this video, if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? If you've enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like. It helps out a ton. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe if you want to catch up some more on some of this kind of content. Drop plenty of different gaming content, and I will catch y'all on the next video. As always, y'all be easy. Peace.